When finding the zero of a linear equation, you can solve for x. When finding the zeros of a quadratic, you can solve for x by factoring and solving or by using the quadratic formula. With other functions, it can be difficult to do so by these methods. Fortunately for us, we can use a graphing calculator to do it. So in this video, I'm going to explain how to find the zeros using a TI-83, but the same instructions can be used for a TI-84. So the steps are: 1. Press y equals and plug your function into y1. After you do so, press graph and see that your graph shows up correctly. If the graph does not show up correctly, you need to press window and adjust the viewing window as needed, whether zooming in or out. 4. Once you can see the graph, press second, then trace, and you're going to press the 0 option. Now that your graph is showing up, you're going to be given some directions, and the bottom is going to ask you for a left bound. This just means you need to move your cursor to where the graph crosses the x-axis, then move a couple of spaces to the left. Make sure that the cursor is clearly to the left of your 0, then press enter. Then it's going to ask you right bound. Just move your cursor back to where it crosses the x-axis, and then move a couple spaces to the right. Again, making sure that your cursor is clearly to the right of your 0, then press enter. Finally, it's going to ask you for guess, which just means you press enter a third time, and in the bottom of the screen it's going to give you the x and y value for the 0. Round as directed. So here we have the function f of x equals x cubed plus x squared plus x minus 4, and we're going to find the 0 of each polynomial and round to 2 decimal places. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take our calculator and we're going to plug our function into it. So we go to y equals, and we're going to plug in our function x cubed plus x squared plus x minus 4. It's clearly typed in correctly. Then we're going to hit graph to make sure it shows up. And it does, and it crosses right here. So we have our 0. So we're going to press second and trace, and we're going to go to the 0 option, number 2. And so it says left bound, so we're going to take our cursor to where it crosses the x-axis, right about there, and go a couple spaces to the left, hit enter, then it asks for right bound, so we go back to where it crosses, and then a couple spaces to the right. Then it asks us for guess, we hit enter one more time, and it gives us the 0 at rounded 2 decimal places, 1.15. So the 0 here is 1.15. And that's all you do for the first one. Now we're going to do it again for the second one. So again, we go back to y equals, clear this out, and we're going to have 2x to the 4th plus x squared minus 1. And we're going to hit graph and see what it looks like. And this time we have 2 zeros here. So that's okay. We can do 2 zeros. We just got to do it one at a time. So hit 0. And I'm going to do the left one first. So we're going to go over to the left one and go over to the left of it. Hit enter. Then go back. Then go a little bit to the right of it. Enter. And then guess. And we're going to get x equals negative 0.71. But again, we have 2, so we're going to do it one more time. Second trace, 0. Going to go to the right of it, or to the right one, and now it's asking left bound, so we're going to go a couple spots to the left. Now it asks for right bound. Go a couple spots to the right. Hit guess, and our 0 is the same number, but positive this time, so 0.71. So here are our 2 zeros for this function. And now we're going to do it one more time for the last one. Again, into y equals, clear it out. Now, 2x to the 4th minus, nope, not 2, 3x cubed minus 4x squared minus 8. So again, always double check, just in case you did like I did and put a 2 instead of a 3. Everything looks good, so we're going to hit graph. And 2 again, 1 here and 1 here. So trace, 0. And going to have to go over here. I'm going to do this one first. So left bound, so I'm obviously clearly to the left of it, so I can hit enter. And right bound, again, I'm clearly to the right of it. Enter again. It's going to guess. And I'm going to get negative 1.4. So my 0 here is negative 1.4. So that's good for that one. One more time. Going to do the 0. And I'm going to go over to the right one. But you're going to see it's kind of going to go off screen a little bit, which is okay. Not too big of a deal. We just keep clicking until it shows up. And here it is. It's a little bit too far to the right. So I'm going to click down here. It's right here, so that's good enough for me. Enter. And that's clearly to the right, but sometimes you want to be sure. You can hit another spot over. Even though it's not showing, it's clearly up here. Well, it's not clearly up here, but it is up here. So we hit enter. Calculator knows what's going on. It'll think about it and give us our next answer at 2.53. So our last 0 is at 2.53. And here are the zeros for this function.